So I just got done watching or listening to the interview between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It was supposed to be Elon Musk interviewing Donald Trump, but it was more so like a weird version of a podcast. Like it felt like instead of Elon Musk, billionaire and scientist and genius, talking to former president of the United States, Donald Trump. And no, it didn't feel like that. It felt like a podcast with Andrew Tate talking to Tim Pool. That's what it felt like. It felt so Joe Rogan-y. And so I know there's already going to be a ton of probably people and stories that are going to be clipping all this up, and I don't want to have to talk about the entire thing. But I do kind of find it funny that in the beginning, they were supposed to, go live on Twitter, and they were like a half hour late, and then Elon Musk comes on and claims that it's because of some massive DDoS attack. Like, the only thing I want to point out, because all the other stuff's gonna get pointed out by other people, so I want to point out the thing that I don't think other people are going to. And there was a moment, it's just a small moment, where Trump and Elon Musk are mid-conversation, and Trump goes, "Wow, look at all the people watching right now. Look at all the viewers, Whatever his exact wording was, he was implying that look at all the live amount of people that are watching this right now. And he threw out a number that was like 60 million. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm like live on this call. Those aren't the numbers that I'm seeing. Like I'm in the little Twitter Spaces thing. I can see the amount of people. This is not what it says. And it only said, like, in the little chat bubble, only said like 300 something thousand. And then so it finally ends after 2 hours, and then it ends, and then I hit leave, and then the thing pops up and asks if I'd like to share it, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'll share it. So I shared it as its own post on my Twitter account, and it showed the stats of the call, and it showed that it had 2 million listeners. Let me go back a little bit. When Trump claimed that there were 60 million, listeners, you could hear Elon Musk asking someone off the side about how many viewers there were, and you couldn't hear what their answer was, but Elon got that answer. Elon comes back, he kind of pauses for a little bit, and then he just changes the complete fucking subject and asks Trump some question about something else. Like, I swear to God, go listen to it. I'm not going to go try to find all of this shit right now, but people will find it. It exists. That literally happens. Trump, live on that call, said that there were 60 million plus people watching, and he said, I'll bet you get 100 million. Now, there's a chance that Trump could have been looking at the tweet count, like the tweet like count or view count, because on Twitter itself, the view count was pretty high. I remember seeing it was like 70 something million. But there's a difference between those things. There's like the amount of people listening to it that actually listened to the thing itself, and then the people that just saw it on Twitter. There's a difference. That doesn't mean everybody clicked on it. That just means people, supported it and clicked it, but they're doing other things in life and don't have time to sit down and listen to a 2-hour fucking, Joe Rogan podcast. So they just supported it by hitting whatever reaction and giving it a view by doing that. If Trump was doing that, it means he made a mistake. But here's the thing with Trump. He is definitely an absolute liar, so we can never rule that out. But he's also an incompetent idiot. So sometimes it gets pretty confusing and you don't really know which one he's being, but that honestly doesn't even matter, because the point is neither of those things are something that should be leading this country. So whether he lied about having 60 million people watching or listening, which we know he's lied about that type of stuff before, or whether he was just so incompetent that he read the wrong numbers, doesn't matter. Either way, Kamala wouldn't have done that shit because she's smart, and she's also smart enough to not go on a Joe Rogan style podcast with Elon Musk. Just what a ridiculous thing. A lot of it was just so much of Trump repeating himself too. He repeated himself so much. So many of the same phrases he says all the time. He wouldn't repeat them in a way that I think he knew he was repeating them. He was repeating them in a way where it felt like he thought he hadn't said it before. But he'd said it like 2 or 3 more times previously in the same conversation. And then Elon Musk spent a lot of time trying to force what his vision of this weird sort of futuristic tunnels under every part of the country and rockets and colonies on Mars. Like, he really spent a lot of time trying to convince Trump of all that stuff, and Trump was just eating it up. Also, the whole time it sounded like Trump was talking like this. It's like he had like spit in the corners of his mouth. He sounded like Rudy Giuliani. Maybe it was just because he was so close to the microphone and it's a different format of how we normally hear his voice when it's usually through some video or something. Or like, an illegal phone call. It's just you could really hear, I don't know, it sounded like this is just like a real old guy talking. And that's another issue because that's an issue. They're the ones that brought up first was age, and Biden's age was a problem, but how is Trump's not also? Like, I don't know if it's the dementia that he just repeats himself like crazy. I don't know. I don't even know if he has dementia. All I know is that dude is old. And the last dude that was too old to be president stepped down for a much younger, more intelligent person. So, yeah, I give that podcast between Trump and Musk like a 0.5 out of 10. Just for the audio quality itself. Because once they finally got it going, the audio quality was good. It was so good that you could hear whatever was in the corners of Trump's mouth so clearly as he spoke. I don't even know if it's still available to watch. I posted it as its own tweet after I ended up watching it. When I first posted it, it said space not available. So I don't know if that was just like an uploading phase or if they're really going to try to not want to release that thing in its entirety. But if they choose not to, I hope they have to understand that, including myself, people all over the world, screen recorded that whole thing on Twitter. So I hope they don't try to take stuff out, because I thought it was a really good opportunity to let Trump cook, because it did not make him sound good. He did not really talk about policy whatsoever. He just made so many attacks and insults, the same attacks and the same insults over and over and over and over again. He didn't talk about how he would save the country or help the country or unify the country or anything. No, it's just all the same things he's always screeching about. Nothing new. Nothing new. A lot of really low blow attacks, too, on the people he doesn't like. He was really just kind of an asshole. And who really honestly likes being around assholes? Like, most of us don't. Most of us don't like being in the presence of someone who's just an asshole. And that's just what Trump is. So I hope more people actually listen to that. I know he's going to brag about how many viewers he had compared to like Kamala's, fundraising Zoom calls. But Kamala's still kicking his ass in the numbers. Like, he technically has one tweet that might have more now, the tweet of the interview. But according to Twitter itself, it only had 2 million viewers. So, all right, that was a lot to say. Yeah, just go see if you can find it, listen to it. It's 2 hours long, so I understand if you don't want to. I'm planning on just waiting for all the late night shows and influencers and creators that I see all over YouTube and TikTok to just get the important parts out there, and I'm sure they will. All right. Okay, so I finished filming and editing that whole video. That's why this is all at the end. Before I was going to post it, I decided to check Twitter and just see if that viewer count number was still the same. Look at this fucking shit right here. This is what I knew was going to happen. This is exactly why I screenshotted it as soon as I saw it. That's what it really was 2 million. And then somehow, I wonder how, it is now somehow 15 million after the fact. I mean, still a lot less than 60 million, but it's just, how can we trust these people? How can we trust someone like Elon Musk or Donald Trump? They are just scammers. Oh my God, I can't believe, look at this shit. Look at this. And look at the first one that I posted. And then now look at this one. Don't you see it? The lies.